Have you ever felt like Christmas couldn't really be happening because you hadn't gotten to everything on your list? Maybe you had a whole checklist of activities you wanted to do with your kids or things you wanted to do for your business and it just didn't materialize. That was kind of how this Christmas season went for me. I had so many ideas for what I wanted to do with the blog, and I had so many ideas for activities I wanted to do with my kids, and I had this whole idea of how the month was gonna go. And instead, the month of December greeted us with 2 solid weeks of the flu. It just went from person to person, like every 3 days, one of us would get it. And we are at the end of week 3, and we are just now finally better. So initially when all this happened, I was pretty disappointed. To be honest, I just felt like this isn't fair. Why is this happening? I'm not gonna get to share these things on the blog that I wanted to share, and then after we're better, by the time I get to it, it's all gonna be obsolete. But looking back, I'm actually grateful for that time because it forced me to slow down, give myself grace, be realistic, and just enjoy the slower moments with my family. And really, we did get to still do quite a few things together. And just because we didn't get to do certain things doesn't mean we can't do them even the week after Christmas. Looking back on the activities that we did get to do, we got to go to the Christmas tree farm with my in-laws, which is something we do every year. That's our special activity with them. And it's a lot of fun. We drive over an hour out to Illinois to go to the special Christmas tree farm. And we take the tractor out to the field and we get to pick try to find the perfect tree. And last year it was so warm it almost didn't even feel like Christmas, but this year definitely was windy and cold, and we were all bundled up, and it definitely felt like winter. Usually it takes us a few days to get it brought inside and set it all up, and I'm always in charge of the lights. I don't know why. It's always just kind of been my job. I guess I'm meticulous, but I actually got it done in record time this year. Probably took me about 25 minutes to do the whole tree. In the past, I've been very perfectionistic about it, and I try to get, it all evenly spaced. And back when I was living with my parents, I actually blew the breaker one year because I put so many lights on that tree, you could probably see it from space. This year, I was like, we're just gonna stick them on, we're gonna get it done, it's gonna be good. And that was the fastest I've ever done it. Definitely took us a number of days to finish decorating the tree because we were sick. I like using this red wood beaded garland. I got it at Hobby Lobby a few years ago. I love the just traditional vintage feel it brings. Garlands of dried oranges because I love that pop of orange against the tree. Our ornaments are a mix of family ornaments and my vintage mercury glass ornaments. Just basically a mix of anything we like. This year I tried something a little new. I used kind of a vintage color satin ribbon to tie bows all over the tree, which is kind of a vintage traditional look. I used this frayed edge ribbon I found at Hobby Lobby. I ended up using 2 different colors. One's more of a golden color and the other one's more of a leather brown color because I ran out of ribbon. And when I went back to Hobby Lobby, they only had the leather brown. They didn't have any more of the gold, but I think it totally works. And then to finish it off, we have a special tree skirt and star that were made by my husband's grandmother decades ago. I don't know quite when, but they're really sweet. So we use those every year. I always get a little bit bummed this time of year that we don't have a fireplace and mantle. Maybe someday we will, but this was not the year for that. So I always have to get a little bit creative on how to hang the stockings since we don't have a mantle. And I didn't want to use those heavy things you set on a table and with the hook and hang the stockings, because I was pretty sure that baby would just pull them over on herself and get hurt. So I always just use the blanket ladder that leans against the wall of the living room. I just tie the stockings up with some ribbon and it works. And the ribbon is totally sturdy enough to hold the stockings after I fill them too. The kids and I made gingerbread from scratch the other day. My daughter, my 3-year-old, wanted to make a gingerbread house, so I cut out the pieces for that for her. But my 5-year-old son wanted a truck, a gingerbread truck. So we made that happen. I cut out paper shapes to try to put together a pickup truck, and I think it worked okay. He liked it a lot, and the kids had a lot of fun decorating. And I have to say, sprinkles are basically the food version of glitter. It just gets everywhere. So it was pretty messy, but it was fun. And I had enough dough left over to make myself a miniature gingerbread house, which was a lot of fun. I poked little holes out with a toothpick for the windows, and then I decorated it with the white icing. I used little sprigs of rosemary from my little rosemary bush over there for little Christmas trees on either side. And then I sprinkled it all with powdered sugar to make it look like snow. And I had a lot of fun filming that in slow motion. And then I made a fun little Instagram reel out of it to make it look like it was snowing on the mini gingerbread house. We made some stuffed Christmas tree pillows, and I did actually write a blog post about that, but I didn't end up making a video like I thought I would because my son actually wanted to help. He's 5, almost 6 years old, and he wanted to help sew the Christmas tree pillows. So I thought that was a really simple, great project to introduce him to sewing. I even let him work the pedal of the sewing machine while I held the fabric up on top, which was a bit of a trust exercise. But I set the speed of the sewing machine to the lowest setting, and he did really well. It was fun working together, and he got to stuff the pillow and we sewed it and everything, and I think it turned out really cute. I also worked on making a few ornaments from pieces of scrap cloth. One of them I made was a little star, and I embroidered it with kind of a Scandinavian type design. The other one I made was a heart, and it has a little branch with some evergreen needles and some berries. So that was a relaxing evening project. I would do that while my husband and I would watch a show in the evening. Just a fun, relaxing little project. You know, last weekend, for the first time in 6 months, I did not send a newsletter for my blog. And in a way, it was so heartbreaking or disappointing because I felt like I was letting people down. But I had to remind myself that we were in the midst of so much illness, and my first priority is to take care of my family and take care of my own health. And in order to write that newsletter, I would have had to have stayed up until all hours of the night to come up with content, write a blog post, something to send, and then compose a newsletter. And I had to just tell myself, no, you need rest, you need to get better. And it felt really good on one hand because I felt this sense of freedom, like I could just be with my family, be present, take care of myself, and I'm pretty sure people will understand. There's a lot of illness going around right now, and I think everyone can relate. I really enjoyed using natural elements in my Christmas decorating this year. I made those natural ornaments a few weeks ago that I shared on here, like the moss balls and the cinnamon stick ornaments. Well, a couple weeks ago, I was at the grocery store and they had these really cute little rosemary trees. And I thought that it was just the perfect little thing to put next to the kitchen window. It just adds a lot of freshness, and it kind of looks like a little Christmas tree, but it's one of those things that can easily extend into the rest of winter and not look Christmassy per se. So I love that sitting next to the kitchen window. And then on the kitchen window, I put these little tin houses that my mom gave me a couple weeks ago. We were at a local nursery, and Fran, if you're watching, hi. My mom bought me these little house ornaments, and I especially loved this one because it reminds me of Madeline's house from the book Madeline, which I loved when I was growing up, and now my daughter loves it too. So I had to get that house, and I was gonna buy that one, and then my mom was like, oh, you're always with me when I find stuff for you for Christmas, but she went ahead and bought me 3 of them as part of my Christmas present. So thank you, Mom. I love them. They're sitting on my kitchen windowsill right now. I love putting things, like little things, on my kitchen window. One of these days, if I ever build a new house, I am going to have a deep windowsill in my kitchen where I can put plants and like little decorations and stuff, mostly plants. I want just like little potted plants in my kitchen windowsill. But right now my kitchen windowsill is only like this thick. So I love putting cute little things lined up in my kitchen window. Like in the fall, I love putting little pumpkins, and now I have my little houses. Or I'll take like a tiny little bud vase and fill it with some flowers and set it on the kitchen windowsill. So I always enjoy doing that. My mom also sent me these really cool amaryllis. If you're not familiar with amaryllis, it is a flower bulb that has enough energy stored in it that you don't have to water it or put it in soil or anything. It just grows. And then this is going to burst into flowers at some point here, but they wax the bottom of it. Isn't that cool? And my mom sent me these, and so I put them on this tray here on our dining room table, and we are anxiously awaiting them to bloom. This one is the tallest. And it looks like the top is starting to do something. So I'll keep you posted on what it does. Sitting on the couch in the evenings, working on a project with the little candle on the coffee table lit and the glow of the Christmas tree has just been so peaceful. It's been my favorite thing. Like when I was sitting there stitching my little scrap ornaments with the candle lit, it was really nice. I also decorated a fresh Christmas wreath for the front door this year. I grabbed one at Trader Joe's that already had some pine cones in it, and then I just wired in a bunch of different stuff that I liked, like dried oranges and little bundles of cinnamon sticks, and then some little brass bells from Hobby Lobby. And I really like how it pops against the blue door. I decided, in the spirit of giving myself some rest and recuperation time, I'm going to make this my last video for this year. So I just want to take this moment to thank you so much for following along, for subscribing, for being here, for watching. It would not be nearly as fun without you, because otherwise I would just be talking to myself. So thank you for being here, and I want to wish you a very merry and blessed Christmas and a very happy and healthy New Year.